having a conversation um, with somebody from the philosophy department, and and as the conversation went on, they actually started to tell me that my views were kind of radical. They told me that I had radical views. They told me that right, this from somebody in the philosophy department. Most of their views are either from somebody with radical views or they want to create radical views of their own. They told me that my views were kind of radical. Um, that was that that I was viewing or veering toward being a socialist. I replied that Cornel West, um, professor at Princeton, was a democratic socialist, one of the smartest black men on the planet, one of the most profound. He replied, "Well, that's him. You know, you don't have your own views." I have my own views. Yeah, yeah, I got my own views. It just so happens that me and this professor we share a lot of the same views. Um, I believe that there should be a lot of things that should be a right for people to have. Like there's no reason why people should be without health care. You know, people should have health care. You know, I believe that's an essential. You know, um, I also think people should be able to support their families. You know, there's not a reason why we're one of the richest and most powerful countries on the planet. There are people out, you know, especially where I grew up, back in Akron, Ohio, that were poor and couldn't support their families. I mean, I was one of the poor. I was one of the poor growing up. Um, Anybody who knew us, you know, me and my brother, and then soon after my little sister knew that we were poor, you know, and knew that our house was pretty much, you know, a place to get, you know, drugs, um, um, predominantly crack cocaine, but I'm pretty sure there was other substances going through. But the reason why we did those things is because my mother was having a hard time supporting us. Well, and you could argue that it was circumstance or conditioning, or you can argue that you know she could have made a way for us or made a way for herself. But the bottom line is that drugs was a means to an end. You know, most of my childhood, we did have health care, but it was through the city. You know, now that I live where I live, um, in the inferno, basically, it's still like 100 degrees outside right now. I see homeless people. I'm talking homeless people with no health care, you know, no means to get health care, you know, out with signs saying that they'll work for food or they'll work for money, you know, or they'll work for, you know, to get a ride or, you know, there's a lot of Mexican day laborers that just stand outside of convenience stores like Circle K, and they sit and they pretty much I don't want to say pimp themselves out for day labor, but I mean that's pretty much what they do. Um, it's pretty crazy. So saying that I think some things should be socialized is not really that far fetched. I believe that some things should be given or government supplied. Um, I know that some people think that too much government is a bad thing, and I'm apt to agree. I don't want too much government. I believe that some things should be regulated. I think that things like water, things like electricity, things that we grow to rely on, even so far as the internet, maybe even the internet, maybe. Um, these are things that might have to be controlled by you know organization or a something to where these things are subsidized to where everybody can get. You know, now don't get me wrong. I think that capitalism can work, but the way that's been working so far is that you have a very very small group of powerful individuals hoarding all the money to where a lot of people on the bottom can't get the type of funding that they need. You know, I don't believe that my view is radical. I don't think that it's radical thinking at all. I just think that it's thinking for a a all encompassing view on how we can make our country, or I don't, a lot of people, a lot of especially black folks, don't think that it's our country, but the country that we live in, a better country. Um, that's what I think. I think that everybody deserves health care. I think that everybody deserves water. I mean, really, you're living in a house and you can't pay your water bill, so it gets cut off. So you and whoever you're supporting in your house don't have any water. I mean, there was times when I was little to where we were living off Caldwell Falls Avenue back in Akron, and our water got cut off. I mean, just completely cut off. But we had to wait for rainwater. It was like we were like like we had a well. Like we were waiting for the gods to send us water down, and we were putting it in buckets and using water from buckets. I mean, no lie, no lie. You know, this was before my sister was born. Um, yeah, I mean, it got hectic. It got really hectic. It was helter skelter there for a minute. So I mean, I can partly understand why my mother, you know, and my brother would turn to the other side. You know, um, and I would also understand if I was on the outside looking in, why I would become kind of a radical as far as these things go. I believe in liberation from the man, or the man. And I put that in quotations, the man. Um, but I also think that we should be smart enough to be able to come together and see that some things should be a basic human right. They're necessities. You know, they're things that people need to survive. Now I don't really trust politicians really all like that. I don't trust them. I don't trust Bush. I don't trust Obama. I just think that politicians are all the same type of guy. And I think that a lot of politicians are being controlled. I mean, this is a speculation. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This isn't something that I'm just pulling out of my ass. There are lobbyists in in Washington who lobby for companies so they can get special favors like special rights to certain Great Lakes. So you can purify the water and sell it back to us for $1.25, $1.50 a bottle. They're purifying water from our lakes and selling it back to us. I mean, it's insane. You know, a lot of you people drink bottled water. Do you realize that you're paying for water that's coming from like the Great Lakes? I mean, it's being purified, reverse osmosis, and sold back to us. We don't really know what's in the water. When they sell it back to us, we have to believe that it's reverse osmosis. But I mean, that's a whole other issue. Um, people don't even drink their tap water anymore. Because I mean, the water here is disgusting. I mean, it's terrible. And my views are radical. I do still have my dream of having an original theory or an original plan, but my my thought process it jumps from place to place. I live in the realm of ideas, as my wife would say. I have tons and tons and tons of different ideas, and 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 I live in it. I live in that realm. Um, so my ideas at sometimes are as they would be considered radical. I would be considered a black radical man. But if you really take what I'm saying and break it down, my ideas aren't really that radical. They just seem incomprehensible in a time where things that aren't just seem normal. You know, when people getting duped is the norm. When somebody comes and say, "Let's stop duping people," that seems irregular. Justice, justice, justice in this world is an irregularity. It's insane. It really is. But I'm the radical. Yeah.